Amanda, and the people who say, like Dick Sessa, well, you don't need an AR-15 or an automatic pistol, a semi-automatic, I'm sorry. You don't need a semi-automatic to hunt a squirrel. Well, the Founding Fathers didn't put the Second Amendment in so somebody in Kentucky could hunt squirrels for squirrel stew. They put it in so that people could be armed to protect themselves against a potential tyrannical government, right?
That is correct. And I was actually listening to a young lady who brought testimony, and I'm not sure which city or county. I was looking at this last night. She stood before the podium and she said, if I have multiple intruders coming in my house, a single shotgun, it's not gonna, a revolver, that's not really going to be helpful. I need some way where I can adequately defend myself, especially when my husband is out of town. And those were her very words. And so I agree with that. I've shot AR-15s, and they're not scary. It's educating people on firearms instead of legislating restrictions on firearms. We need to educate people. We need to inform, educate, and that is the problem. Senator Howell yesterday mentioned on the floor, the number of threats that some of the legislators have already received on the other side of the aisle. And I said, look, responded back on the floor of the Senate. I said, I understand. I get those threats too. And in fact, I was in front of Merriweather's Cafe. For those who haven't been to the Capitol, it's a place where, like a cafe right inside the Capitol where many of us get lunch. That's where I had someone to try to lay hands on me, and I was open carrying that day, and they stepped back. And I said, that actually, me open carrying like that, I fully believe prevented some type of altercation right there in the Capitol. And by the way, there was no Capitol police officer anywhere nearby. They're usually at the entrances and not throughout the Capitol. And so I was defenseless. And I had that happen on 3 different occasions. Another time, I was sitting in I believe it was a transportation committee meeting. My back's to the wall.
Right.
There's no way to get out. You have to go through a wall of people, and it's standing room only.
Right.
Thank God for my firearm.
Right.
Hope to God I never have to use it.
Exactly.
But you do have people that come to the Capitol. Most are law-abiding citizens, but not everyone is feels that way. And so we have to, especially as legislators, making these hard, difficult policy decisions, which are very heated sometimes.
Right.
We don't want to tick people off.
Right.
But we have to make good policy, and we can't do it based on emotion.
Right.
We have to do it on what's best for the people. And so, people get upset, they get passionate, and sometimes people in the moment of passion, they do things they should or shouldn't do.
This is a galvanizing issue that is going to, if 100,000 people, 75,000, 100,000 people come to Richmond, is going to send a national message to gun-grabbing Democrats, because it's going to be a wake-up call. You're like awakening this giant who's been asleep, basically. And, we go to Trump rallies, Amanda, and we're always shocked to find that 20% of the people who come out to the rally are not registered to vote. I mean, that's just a reality in America. Trump supporters and gun owners, there's a lot of them that they just don't want to get involved in the political system. They want to do jury duty, whatever the reason is. Those people are now going to get active, and there's going to be a backlash. Amanda Chase, tell us, what gun-grabbing laws have come out of the first round? What are we looking at here?
So before we say that, I do want to let people know, our listeners know, that they can carry their firearm on the Capitol grounds. I just got verification of that because I know people want to know that. Okay, so here's what we have.
So they can carry the firearms.
They can carry,
so
just
at
not
the
in the
VCDL
Capitol.
rally,
Yes.
if you can't take it into the Capitol, but into the Pocahontas building at the Capitol, so you can't take it in there, but you can take it on the grounds.
Absolutely, yes. That is the word. So the Senate Judiciary Committee endorsed a 1 handgun a month limit, universal background checks, a red flag law, and giving municipal officials more local authority on guns. And now all those bills, they now head to the full Senate. All 4 of these ideas were approved as part of the Northam Administrative's 8-part control package.
Got it.
So let's take a look at those bills in
Yes,
depth here.
break these down for us.
So yesterday we had 9 anti-gun bills
Right.
on the docket, and one of the ones wasn't even on the docket was Senate Bill 16, which was a confiscation bill that was introduced by Senator Saslaw. It was not on the calendar, and he struck it. So that's struck means we won't see that one again. So that's good. Everyone has been looking at the Senate Bill 12, Senator Saslaw's bill. That's been talked about a lot in social media. That did not come up yesterday. What came forward yesterday was Senator Servell's bill, and this bill is not about public safety. It's more about speech than Second Amendment. What this bill says is that it authorizes any locality by ordinance to prohibit the possession or carrying of firearms, ammunition, or components, or any combination thereof in a public space during a permitted event or an event that would otherwise require permit. And the bill does contain technical amendments. So let's just think about this. Craft shows, public spaces during an event.
Well, define a public space.
Right. So what they're saying is, if you have a craft show or, you've got 100.
What about a garage sale?
Right.
Is that a public space?
I don't think a garage sale is. But 131 localities would end up with 131 different interpretations. And, that's a challenge.
Based on what is define a public
Right.
space?
Exactly. And it's confusing.
What, let me just ask you something. What about Jack Wilson, the guy in Texas who had a gun, who went to the church, and who shot the assailant who was going to kill another, 10 or 20 people, shot him dead because he was armed? That doesn't matter?
Well, I believe that would fall under a different statute. This has to do with the locality. So I'm thinking like a county fair or something like
Right,
that.
so if I want to shoot people, I can go to a county fair knowing that nobody will have a gun there.
Right.
I mean, see the problem with this all sounds good when the Democrats do it, but here's what the reality is. The crazy person that has the gun that wants to go there knows that there's nobody can defend themselves. So if they want to get maximum carnage, like the guy in Las Vegas did from the Harrah's or whatever the hotel window is, right?
Right.
They're going to get maximum carnage because nobody can defend themselves because somebody passed a law basically saying you can't have a gun at the county fair,
And
so
a lot
everybody's
of
a
times,
sitting duck.
and the sad part about that is there have been cases where you had prior military police officers who were not on duty and not carrying at some of these events where they were restricted and not allowed to carry. They could have prevented the carnage, but because their firearms were taken from, they were disarmed, they were not allowed to carry, they could not protect the lives around them. Good guys with a gun save lives.
What they're doing. What about Dan Helmer's bill to outlaw shooting ranges, practice shooting ranges? Like, what is that about?
That's ridiculous. Where are you supposed to get trained and practice if you don't have a shooting range? And he wants the government to control all these things. And we know that many times that's just ludicrous, honestly. I've gone to several different shooting ranges in the past couple weeks, actually. Mm-hmm. And I hope these legislators that are putting forward this legislation will go through the process of getting a concealed carry permit and actually go to these shooting ranges. I think if they actually go there and see the steps that are put into place to protect citizens who go there to practice with their firearm, it is not at all what they think it is. It looks like Governor Northam is flooding the zone, right? Just put everything in there, and if he gets like 7 of the 15, he can declare victory. I've only got 20 seconds here, but is this whole strategy at the end of the day is just just a down payment on eventually confiscating all guns? Yes or no? Yes, I believe it is.
John Fredericks Radio Network, live at Amanda Chase's office.